What if the real reason you can't focus isn't you? What if your brain's just been trained the wrong way? Every time you scroll, switch apps, or avoid a task, your mind is learning to chase quick rewards and avoid real work. That's not laziness, that's conditioning. This video will help you undo that. Dopamine Detox, Train Your Brain for Deep Work, is not just a catchy title, it's a serious call to take back control of your time, your energy, and your attention. You don't need another motivational speech, you need the truth. You need simple, clear steps to fix your focus and rebuild your mind, without hacks or hype. This is for anyone who's tired of feeling mentally scattered and wants to get things done again. If your mind has been overstimulated, this is where you reset. Watch till the end. YouTube now recommends videos that keep people watching. This one will keep you locked in for a reason. Chapter 1. Break the cycle of chasing quick fake satisfaction now. You know, it's easy to fall into the habit of chasing things that feel good for a moment but leave us empty later. Quick fake satisfaction. That's what a lot of people are stuck in, and if you don't catch it early, it becomes a pattern, a loop that gets tighter every day. You wake up and your hand goes straight to your phone. You scroll through videos. You check messages that don't matter. You chase likes, views, noise, and you think you're just passing time, but you're actually giving away your mind, your most valuable tool, for nothing. See, your brain wasn't built for this kind of constant stimulation. It was built to solve, to grow, to stretch. But if all you give it are quick rewards, it starts to forget how to work. It forgets how to focus. And when it's time to sit down and do something important, something that actually matters, you can't sit still. You can't think straight. Your mind wants another hit, something fast, something easy. That's the danger. This habit of chasing fast pleasure is silent. It doesn't yell. It just steals. It takes your time. It drains your energy. It pulls your attention in 10 directions. And soon, you don't even know what you're capable of, because you've trained your brain to expect everything to be fast, fun, and instantly rewarding. That's not how real achievement works. That's not how discipline is built. That's not how people rise. You've got to break the cycle, and you've got to break it now. Not tomorrow, not after one more scroll. Now. Because the longer you stay in it, the more you convince your mind that this is normal, that this is okay. But deep down, you know it's not. You know you're capable of more. You've felt it. There are moments when you try to concentrate and you feel the pull. That restlessness, that itch to check something, to switch apps, to look away from what matters. That's not weakness. That's a warning. It's your brain telling you it's been overloaded with junk, and if you don't clean it up, it's going to shut down the part of you that creates, that pushes, that fights for better. The longer you chase fake satisfaction, the more you lose your ability to work deeply, to think clearly, to live meaningfully. You've got to stop giving away your power to cheap rewards. You've got to stop trading your focus for flashes of noise. You've got to stop filling your mind with things that don't feed your future. Start by noticing what pulls you in. What are you doing when you feel distracted? Where is your time going? What are the first 5 things you do in the morning, and are they helping you move forward or pulling you back into the loop? Most people don't change because they don't stop long enough to notice how far they've drifted. But the moment you become aware, the moment you see it clearly, that's when change starts. Not when someone pushes you, not when you hit rock bottom, but when you take full ownership. When you say, this is not who I want to be anymore. And it doesn't take a big, dramatic move. It takes a decision, a serious one, a choice to pull back, to slow down, to clean up your mental space, Turn off the things that keep pulling you in. Not forever, but long enough to feel your mind again, long enough to sit in silence and realize how noisy things have become. You don't need to watch every video. You don't need to respond to every message. You don't need to be plugged in all the time. You need space to think. You need time to reset. That's the detox. It's not about cutting everything off for good. It's about training your brain to stop expecting entertainment every minute. It's about giving yourself the ability to choose again, to decide what matters, to rebuild your attention span, to reconnect with work that actually makes you stronger, work that stretches your potential. And yes, it will be uncomfortable at first. Your brain will fight it. You'll feel the need to grab your phone. You'll feel bored. You'll feel anxious. That's normal. That's withdrawal. But don't let that feeling scare you. That discomfort is the doorway. It means you're waking up. It means your brain is adjusting. It means you're no longer feeding it junk every few seconds. Sit in that discomfort. Let it teach you something. Let it remind you of the power you still have. The power to sit still, to focus, to do one thing at a time and do it well. That's where your strength is. Not in jumping from one app to another, not in consuming endless content, but in choosing one goal, one task, one deep piece of work, and staying with it. Do you know what happens when you stop chasing quick satisfaction? You start finding real fulfillment. You start enjoying progress. You start feeling proud of yourself again. Because you're not running away from effort, you're running into it. And it changes you. It sharpens you. It gives you clarity. You see, a lot of people are tired, not because they work hard, but because they never focus. They're scattered. Their energy is pulled in every direction. And at the end of the day, they feel exhausted without moving forward. That's the cost of chasing fast pleasure. That's the result of not guarding your mind. So ask yourself, what would your life look like if you gave your brain a break from constant hits of stimulation? What if you stopped feeding it noise and gave it something meaningful to focus on instead? You'd feel calm again. You'd feel in control again. You'd get your time back. You'd get your edge back. You'd get you back. That's what this is really about. Not just training your brain, but taking back your life. Because the people who learn to control their focus, who protect their attention, who stop chasing fast satisfaction, they're the ones who build things that last. They're the ones who rise. They're the ones who do deep work, not shallow tasks, not scattered action, deep, meaningful, high-quality work. And that kind of work changes everything. Don't wait for a crash to make this shift. Don't wait until you can't concentrate at all. Don't wait until you're full of regret. Decide today. Break the cycle. Turn off what doesn't matter. Give yourself time to adjust. Focus on things that move your life forward. Your brain will thank you. Your goals will thank you. Your future will thank you. There's real strength in choosing long-term over quick hits. There's real freedom in knowing you're in charge of what enters your mind. And there's real power in training your brain for depth, not distraction. You're not here to be entertained all day. You're here to build something, to become someone. And it all starts with this decision to stop chasing what's fake and start committing to what's real. That's the moment your life changes. That's when you break the cycle. That's when you take the first real step toward deep work, clear focus, and a life you can be proud of. Chapter 2. Start living without needing constant stimulation every hour. Most people today don't realize how overstimulated they've become. They wake up and immediately look for something to respond to. a message, a video, a notification. Their mind doesn't get a second to just be still. From the first hour of the day, the brain is trained to expect constant input. And the problem is, it gets used to that pace. So when there's nothing happening, even for a few minutes, it starts to panic. It searches, it reaches for something. That's not how we were meant to live. We're not meant to be switched on all day, reacting to every sound and every screen. That kind of overstimulation breaks your ability to think clearly. It lowers your energy, it robs you of focus, and over time, it builds a kind of quiet frustration inside you. You can't enjoy calm moments because your mind always wants more noise, more stimulation, more of something that doesn't matter. You have to train yourself to live without that. You have to train your brain to stop craving constant input, because the truth is, when you're always reacting, you never reflect. You never go deep. You never build anything. You're just jumping from one thing to the next, hoping something will hold your attention long enough to make you feel alive. But real life, real progress, it doesn't work like that. It requires depth, it requires stillness, and most of all, it requires control. Stimulation feels good in the moment, but it doesn't leave you with anything valuable. You watch 100 videos, you check every app, you stay online for hours. At the end of the day, what do you have? You're tired, but you didn't move forward. You consumed a lot, but you created nothing. That's what happens when you rely on stimulation every hour. You stay busy but get nowhere. If you want your life to change, you have to break that dependency. You have to learn to be okay without constant stimulation. That doesn't mean cutting everything out. It means becoming selective. It means giving your brain time to rest and reset, because a rested brain is sharp. It's focused. It knows what to do next. But a brain that never gets silence becomes restless, impulsive, and weak. Start noticing how often you reach for something out of habit. Notice how many times a day you check your phone just to fill a few seconds. That's the start. Awareness. Once you see the pattern, you can interrupt it. You can catch yourself and choose differently. Maybe instead of scrolling, you take a short walk. Maybe instead of playing background noise, you sit quietly for 10 minutes. It sounds simple, but it's not easy, because your brain will resist it at first. Your brain is used to stimulation. It craves it. It's been trained to expect it. So when you take it away, there will be discomfort. You'll feel the urge to distract yourself again. But if you push through that discomfort, something powerful happens. Your mind starts to settle. You start to feel a different kind of energy, clean, calm, and strong. It's not excitement, it's clarity. The more you allow quiet into your life, the stronger you become. You stop reacting to every little thing. You stop needing something to entertain you all the time. And that's when your attention becomes valuable again. That's when your thoughts get clearer. That's when your creativity starts to return. You begin to see things you couldn't see before. Ideas, plans, insights, goals. They were always there, but the noise was too loud. Living without constant stimulation means learning how to be present again. It means actually feeling your emotions instead of covering them up with distractions. It means sitting with your thoughts long enough to understand them. And that's where real growth starts. Not on a screen, not in a quick laugh, but in stillness, in choosing to stay with yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. And let's be honest, many people fear silence. They fear being alone with their mind. They fear the boredom. But boredom is not the enemy. It's a signal. It tells you your brain wants something meaningful. Not more noise, but more depth. And if you ignore that signal and keep feeding your mind junk, you end up more tired, more anxious, more frustrated. The solution isn't complicated. It starts with small choices. You wake up and don't check your phone for the first hour. You sit with your coffee and just think. You write down your thoughts instead of watching a video. You take a walk without music or podcasts. You create space, real space, for your mind to breathe. And every time you do that, your brain becomes less dependent on external stimulation. This shift doesn't happen in a day, but every day you get stronger. Every day your brain becomes more focused. Every day your brain becomes less reactive and more intentional. And over time, your mind starts to work with you, not against you. Living without constant stimulation helps you build patience. It helps you think before you act. It helps you connect with yourself again. And that connection, that inner clarity, is what helps you make better choices. You're no longer running from moment to moment. You're moving with purpose, and that changes everything. If you want to train your brain for deep work, this is where it starts. You can't expect to focus deeply if you can't even sit still for 5 minutes without needing input. You have to stretch your ability to be still. You have to practice doing nothing, not as a waste of time, but as a way to regain control. Because when you stop needing stimulation every hour, you start owning your time. You don't waste your best hours chasing things that leave you empty. You spend them on real goals, on real action, on mastering a skill. And that kind of life, one where your attention is sharp and your energy is directed, is far more satisfying than anything you can scroll through. Most people are overstimulated and underproductive. They're constantly busy but rarely effective, and the reason is simple. They've given up their focus in exchange for cheap comfort. But you don't have to live that way. You can train yourself differently. You can take back control of your mind, one choice at a time. The key is to stop expecting your brain to feel good all the time. It won't, and that's okay. Growth doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's just you sitting in a room with no noise, thinking through your life. That's when you start to see what matters. That's when you stop being a consumer and start being a creator. So make a new rule for yourself. Start living without stimulation every hour, not just once, but as a habit. Give yourself breaks from noise. Give your brain time to recharge. Protect your focus like it matters. Because it does. It decides what you become, what you build, what you experience, what you leave behind. And remember, no one's coming to do this for you. No one's going to take your phone away. No one's going to block out distractions for you. It's your job to notice what's stealing your attention and take it back. And when you do, you'll be shocked at what you can actually accomplish. The goals you've been putting off, the work you've been avoiding, the ideas you've ignored, they're all still there, waiting for you to slow down long enough to notice them. Waiting for you to slow down long enough to notice. You don't need more stimulation, you need more stillness. More space, more clarity, because when your mind is clear, your direction becomes clear, and that's when you stop drifting and start leading your own life.
Chapter 3. Clear your digital space to fix your mental state. Your mind is not a machine that runs on endless tabs, constant alerts and non-stop noise. It's something far more delicate. It needs clarity. It needs room to breathe. But when your digital space is a mess, when every device is full of clutter, full of noise, full of things pulling your attention, you can't expect your mental state to stay sharp. The two are directly connected. You can't think clearly when your environment is chaotic, and that includes your digital world. Look around your devices, your phone, your laptop, your tablet. Are they helping you think better, or are they making it harder to focus? Be honest. How many apps are you using that you don't even need? How many unread emails pile up each day that don't deserve your time? How many notifications show up just to pull you into something useless? That's not a small problem. That's a major leak of energy, attention, and willpower. And it happens every single day. Most people spend their time managing distractions instead of eliminating them. They think they're in control because they can switch between tasks quickly. But that's not control, that's chaos. If you don't take time to clean up your digital environment, your mind will stay in a state of overload. You'll feel it: fatigue, indecision, low motivation, and you'll think it's just you. But it's not. It's the clutter. It's all the things you're trying to keep up with that don't serve you anymore. You have to clear it out. You have to reset your digital space the same way you'd clean a messy room. Because when you do, your mind responds. You feel lighter. You feel sharper. You start thinking again. You stop reacting and start creating. That's the shift you're after. Start simple. Look at your home screen. How many apps do you need every day? 3, 5, maybe 10 at most. The rest are distractions dressed up as options. They're clutter. They're noise. If an app isn't helping you grow, solve problems, or manage your time, remove it. You're not deleting opportunity. You're protecting your clarity. Next, turn off notifications that don't matter. You don't need to know every time someone posts something. You don't need constant reminders from apps that are designed to steal your attention. Every time your phone lights up, your mind shifts. You lose focus. And the truth is, most of those alerts are not urgent. They're just bait. You don't need more information. You need more control. Then clean your digital workspace, your folders, your desktop, your browser. You should be able to open your computer and get straight to work, not waste 10 minutes figuring out what to click. A clean workspace leads to a clear mind. When you know where things are, when you have a system, you feel calm, and calm is powerful. Your browser tabs matter too. Keeping 20 tabs open might feel productive, but it's just stress, hiding as multitasking. Keep what you need, close the rest. Don't give your brain more visual clutter than it can handle. The more you see, the more your brain tries to manage, and that drains you before you even begin. Also, limit how many platforms you use daily. Do you really need to be on 5 different social media sites? Do you really need 3 messaging apps? Every new platform adds another layer of responsibility, another place to check, another set of people expecting a reply. You're not here to serve your apps. They're tools. Use them like tools. Keep what helps. Let go of what doesn't. One of the biggest lies people believe is that they'll get more done if they stay connected all the time. But it's the opposite. The more connected you are to distractions, the more disconnected you are from your goals. You don't need to be available every minute. You need to be present in the things that matter. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is log out, shut down, put your phone in another room, sit with a notebook instead of a screen. Give yourself time to think deeply. That's where real work happens. That's where breakthroughs are made. Not in noise, in focus. There's also emotional weight in digital clutter. Old messages, forgotten files, unfinished projects. All of it sits in the back of your mind, even if you don't see it. That's why clearing it matters. Delete what no longer serves a purpose. Archive what you need to keep. Let go of things that remind you of what you never finished. You can't move forward if your mind is still stuck in past tabs and unread messages. And don't forget your calendar. If your schedule is packed with things you said yes to out of guilt or fear, that's clutter too. You don't owe your time to everyone. You owe it to your purpose. You owe it to your growth. Clear the things that are keeping you busy, but not productive. Your calendar should reflect your priorities, not your pressure. When you start clearing your digital space, you'll feel the change quickly. You'll have fewer decisions to make. You'll feel more in control. You'll be able to think longer and deeper without your attention breaking. That's not just helpful, that's life-changing. Because once your mind is clear, your confidence returns. You start trusting yourself again. You stop being pulled in 100 directions. Clarity is the real reward. Not just clean screens, but a mind that works with precision. That's how deep work is done. That's how meaningful goals are achieved. Not with more information, but with more intention. And remember, this is not a one-time thing. It's a practice. Just like cleaning your room. You have to do it regularly. Set time each week to review what needs to go, what needs to be organized, what needs to be turned off. Your mental energy is limited. Don't waste it managing digital chaos. Build a system that protects your attention. Decide what matters. Remove what doesn't. Give your mind a clean space to operate. You'll be amazed at what you're capable of when your thoughts aren't drowning in digital noise. This is how you get your edge back. This is how you reconnect with deep thinking. This is how you stop feeling overwhelmed every day. You take control of your environment. You build a space, digital and mental, that supports your goals instead of blocking them. And it starts now. Not after the next message. Not after you check one more thing. It starts with a clear choice to stop living inside a screen that steals your focus and start building a system that brings your power back. Because your clarity is your advantage. Your mind is your most valuable tool, and every file, every notification, every app you remove is a step toward owning it again. Chapter 4. Make your brain work without needing cheap excitement. Most people are teaching their brains to only function when something feels exciting. They're not aware of it, but every time they avoid a task that seems too slow, too dull, or too hard, they're sending a message to their mind that says, "I only work when I'm entertained." And over time, that message sticks. Your brain starts expecting stimulation before it will even begin. It wants music playing. It wants background noise. It wants rewards. And without those things, it stalls. It slows down. It checks out. This is a dangerous mindset to live in, because the real work that builds your life doesn't always feel exciting. In fact, most of it won't. It will feel slow. It will feel repetitive. It will demand effort without instant results. That's the point. That's where growth lives. But if your brain is addicted to quick excitement, it will avoid that kind of work every time. It'll look for shortcuts. It'll wait for motivation. It'll chase easier tasks just to feel busy. But being busy is not the same as doing what matters. You don't need to feel excited to begin. You don't need to be in the perfect mood. You don't need energy bursting through your body. What you need is a brain that understands how to begin without external rewards. A brain that shows up even when things are quiet, even when the outcome is far away, even when it's not fun. That's the kind of mind that builds something real. That's the kind of mindset that separates winners from wishers. You have to train your brain to show up without a prize. That starts by doing hard things without turning them into a show. No music, no stimulation, no noise, just you and the work. When you do that often enough, your mind stops waiting to be entertained. It learns to focus on the process. It learns to take the first step without needing a feeling to go with it. That's powerful. It's easy to work when everything feels exciting. It's easy to start a new project when motivation is high. But what happens when the excitement fades? What happens on day 10 when it's still hard and the results haven't shown up yet? Most people quit not because they're incapable, but because they never trained their brain to operate without stimulation. You have to rewire that, and you do it by sitting down to do the work with zero distractions. No phone, no music, no background content. Just the task. Even if it feels uncomfortable at first, sit with it. That discomfort is your brain adjusting. It's letting go of the idea that everything has to be fun. It's learning to be useful, not entertained. And yes, it's going to fight you at first. You'll feel bored, you'll feel restless, you'll want to quit early. But that's the test. That's where the shift happens. The longer you can stay with it, the more your brain starts to rebuild its strength. It starts finding rhythm in the silence. It starts solving problems without needing outside noise. It starts creating real progress instead of chasing fake rewards. You've got to remember that discipline doesn't come from dopamine, it comes from direction. From deciding what matters, and doing it no matter how you feel. You build that by removing cheap excitement from your process. That doesn't mean you remove all joy, it means you stop depending on it. You stop waiting for excitement before you begin. You become someone who moves because the goal matters, not because the task feels good. That mindset changes everything. It puts you back in control. You stop waiting. You stop wasting time trying to feel ready. You just begin. You work because it's the right thing to do. You show up because you said you would. That's real strength. That's what separates focused people from distracted people. One learns to function in silence. The other stays stuck in noise. So if you've been waiting for the right feeling before you take action, stop. That's not how consistency is built. You're not here to be entertained every hour. You're here to get better. You're here to make progress. And that starts by teaching your brain that you don't need cheap excitement to focus. You need structure. You need clarity. You need commitment. Try this. The next time you sit down to work, remove every source of quick stimulation. No music, no checking notification, no switching tasks every few minutes. Just one task, one goal, one window. Do it for 30 minutes straight, not because it feels good, but because it builds focus, because it builds grit, because it builds something far more important than entertainment. It builds discipline, and as you do that daily, your mind changes. You become more patient, more focused, less impulsive. You stop running from boredom. You stop avoiding effort. You start embracing it. You start showing up to work, not to escape, and the results speak for themselves. You become sharper. You get more done. You stop second-guessing yourself. You gain confidence that doesn't come from hype. It comes from real consistency. Cheap excitement is everywhere. It's easy, it's tempting, but it comes with a cost. It teaches you that effort must always feel good, and when it doesn't, you back off. That's the trap. You stop just short of progress because you're uncomfortable. But if you stay there, if you learn to keep working even when it feels dry, that's where the shift happens. That's when your mind starts listening to your goals instead of your feelings. Most people are overstimulated and under-focused. They need sound, movement, messages, all to feel ready. But what if you could just sit and start? What if your brain knew how to get to work without being tricked by artificial motivation? That's not only possible, it's trainable. And it's built through repetition. You do it again and again until the brain stops resisting. Until it understands that this is the new way, and you don't need hours. Start with small blocks. A few minutes of pure focus, without anything extra, just you and the hard thing. Build it from there. Train your attention like a muscle. The more you use it without distractions, the stronger it gets, and the stronger it gets, the easier it becomes to tackle real goals without falling into the trap of needing stimulation. Every time you choose to work without cheap excitement, you're building mental power. You're strengthening your focus. You're building a brain that doesn't run from effort. That kind of brain wins. Not in short bursts, but in long-term results. Because life doesn't reward those who are just excited. It rewards those who are consistent. Those who can show up when it's quiet, when it's hard, when it's boring. Those are the ones who rise. So decide. Stop feeding your brain things that keep it weak. Stop depending on hype to take action. Start developing the ability to stay in the task without needing anything else. That's where freedom is. That's where power is. That's where you finally get out of your own way and move forward for real. Your brain is not broken. It's just overstimulated. It's just been trained to look for pleasure instead of progress. You can change that. And the change begins the moment you remove the noise and step into the work without expecting it to feel good. Because once you do, once you break through that wall, you become someone who doesn't wait for life to be easy. You become someone who gets things done.
Chapter 5. Build patience by doing things that feel boring first. Most people want change, but they don't want boredom. They want success, but they don't want repetition. They want to improve, but they avoid the parts that feel slow, dull, or ordinary. And this is where most people stay stuck. They wait for something to feel exciting before they commit. They skip the first few steps of anything that looks too plain. But here's the truth. The strongest minds are not built in excitement. They are built in patience. And real patience starts with doing the boring things first, without complaining, without rushing, and without needing it to feel fun. The boring tasks are the ones that hold your structure together. They're the foundation of your growth. Waking up at the same time every day, writing things down when no one else sees them, practicing a skill over and over, cleaning your space, organizing your day, reading instead of scrolling, saying no to distractions. These things don't feel thrilling, but they build strength that no one can take from you. They create the mental sharpness you'll need when life gets loud, chaotic, or uncertain. When you choose to do what feels boring first, you're teaching your brain to delay reward. You're telling your system that you can wait. You don't need to feel good immediately. You don't need entertainment before effort. You can handle stillness. You can handle repetition. You can face discomfort and keep going. That's discipline. That's what separates people who build momentum from those who stay stuck in cycles of restarts and breakdowns. Every time you avoid the boring task and jump to something easier or more exciting, you're weakening your patience. You're feeding the part of your brain that craves stimulation over progress. And each time you do it, it becomes harder to focus the next day. But when you flip that around, when you face the task that feels dull and knock it out early, you shift everything. Your brain stops resisting. It starts listening. You feel more in control, more grounded, and more prepared for the rest of the day. It's not about doing hard things all day. It's about doing the right things in the right order. When you start your day with things that require patience, the rest of your day feels easier. You carry that mindset into everything else. You don't panic when things move slowly. You don't quit when you hit a dry moment. You don't beg for motivation. You've already proven that you can move forward without excitement. Think about it. If your first habit of the day is checking your phone, you're feeding impatience.
You're starting with instant reward. You're training yourself to want something new every second. But if you start your day by making your bed, writing a short plan, or doing a task that's slow but useful, you're training focus. You're telling your brain that it's okay to wait. It's okay to stick with one thing at a time. It's okay to move slowly, if the direction is right. Doing boring things builds internal control. And internal control is freedom, because when you can handle boredom, you don't need distractions to feel okay. You don't need noise to get through the day. You can sit with your thoughts. You can stay with a routine. You can give your full effort without expecting it to feel good all the time. That's the mindset that leads to consistent progress. Too many people get addicted to results. They want fast changes. They want to feel better by next week, but they're skipping the foundation, the repetition, the dull moments that develop character. If you only show up when something feels exciting, you're not building patience. You're chasing feelings, and feelings change. That's why your discipline has to be stronger than your mood. Start with one boring task tomorrow. Do it without rushing. Don't try to make it fun. Just do it fully. Watch how it calms your mind. Watch how it lowers your anxiety. Watch how it makes you feel capable. You'll see that boredom isn't the enemy. It's a tool. It's a training ground for mental toughness, where you learn to slow down without losing your drive. And once you build that skill, your relationship with time changes. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop rushing through your day. You become more aware of your habits. You start making better decisions, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Because you taught yourself to start with what others avoid. People say they want focus, but focus comes from practice. It comes from sitting in silence when it's easier to scroll. It comes from choosing one thing when your brain wants 5. It comes from doing what feels boring, because you know it's building something inside you. That's the kind of patience that pays off for years. When you wake up and do the boring things first, you're setting a tone. You're saying, I'm not here to be entertained. I'm here to improve. And that message echoes throughout your day. It affects how you speak, how you move, how you think, how you handle stress. It makes you resilient. It makes you reliable. It makes you disciplined even when no one's watching it. And if you stick with it, those boring things stop feeling like a burden. They become part of you. A calm routine. A solid rhythm. You stop needing to push yourself into action. You just begin. You become the kind of person who starts without drama, without delay. That kind of identity is powerful. It makes you dependable. It earns respect from others and from yourself. You're not lazy. You're just used to skipping steps. But you can change that. You can start right now. Choose one task that feels boring and do it with full attention. No shortcut, no multitasking, no distractions. Do it slowly. Finish it well. Then move to the next thing. If you do that every day, your patience will grow without you even noticing. And the best part, you start to enjoy the work. You start to feel calm while doing things that used to feel annoying. You stop needing motivation. You don't rely on hype. You just act. That's real maturity. That's what separates short-term change from long-term transformation. Every skill worth building has a boring stage. Every dream worth chasing has quiet days. Every goal requires moments where nothing feels exciting. If you can get through those moments without quitting, you're ahead of most people already. The people who grow the fastest are not the ones chasing excitement. They're the ones doing the ordinary things every day with purpose. They build structure. They stay grounded. They keep showing up. And they know that results come from boring repetition done with care, not from scattered effort chasing what feels good. Train yourself to begin without needing excitement. Train yourself to continue when nothing is happening. Train yourself to finish even when it's hard to stay focused. That's how patience is built. That's how self-respect grows. And that's how your future changes. You don't need more stimulation. You need more consistency. You don't need things to be easier. You need to become someone who stays in the process, even when it feels dry. Because when you do, you discover something powerful. You don't need everything to be perfect to make progress. You just need to keep going. You just need to begin with the boring and let it shape you into someone unshakable.
Chapter 6. Face your thoughts instead of escaping through distractions. There comes a point when you realize the real reason you're always distracted isn't because the world is too loud. It's because you're trying not to sit with what's going on inside your own mind. The scrolling, the background noise, the non-stop updates, they're all ways to stay busy so you don't have to deal with the silence. Because when the noise stops, your thoughts start speaking, and not all those thoughts are comfortable. Most people run from themselves without even realizing it. They think they're just passing time, staying updated, relaxing, but underneath that, there's something they're avoiding. Maybe it's regret. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's the pressure of not being where they thought they'd be by now. Instead of facing those thoughts head-on, they bury them in distractions. And that cycle keeps repeating. It's easy to hide from what's hard when you've got a screen full of escape options. But nothing gets better when you avoid it. Avoidance is a delay. It's not a solution. Every time you run from what you need to face, you give more power to it. The problem gets bigger. The emotions get heavier. The guilt grows, and deep down, you feel it. You know you're not dealing with what matters. You know you're just postponing the hard work. You need space to think clearly. And you can't find that in a feed full of noise. You can't discover real answers when your attention is constantly broken. The truth is, your clarity is buried under the distractions you keep choosing. And if you want to gain control of your life again, you have to turn toward your thoughts, not away from them. Facing your thoughts means you're willing to sit in silence without needing a buffer. It means giving your mind a chance to speak freely, without interruption. And yes, at first, it's uncomfortable. You might hear things you've been trying not to hear. You might have to confront choices you've been avoiding. But that discomfort is not your enemy. It's your starting point. It's how you begin to understand what's really going on. There are feelings you've buried by staying busy. Frustration, shame, doubt. They don't disappear just because you're distracted. They sit quietly in the background, shaping your decisions, clouding your thinking, pulling you in directions that don't serve you. But when you stop running, when you choose to sit with those thoughts, something begins to shift. You see them for what they are. You realize you're not helpless. You're not stuck. You've just been out of touch with yourself. That's what a dopamine detox is really about. It's not just cutting out social media or limiting screen time. It's about reconnecting with your mind. It's about choosing to feel instead of numbing yourself. It's about looking at the parts of your life that are unorganized, unhealed, and unfinished, and saying, I'm not going to run anymore. I'm going to deal with this. And you don't need to solve everything in a day. You just need to be present. You need to create space where your mind can settle. No noise, no scrolling, just thinking, just listening to what your inner voice is trying to tell you. That's where real change begins, not in a moment of hype, but in quiet honesty. One of the hardest things to do today is sit in a room by yourself with nothing but your thoughts. No phone, no music, no conversation, just you. But that's exactly what you need if you want to take control of your life. You need to reconnect with yourself. And that starts by stopping the constant chase for stimulation. When you're not distracted,
you begin to notice patterns. You begin to understand what triggers your anxiety. You see what habits are holding you back. You recognize where you've been avoiding responsibility. And that awareness gives you something powerful: choice. You get to choose what to do next, instead of being dragged by your emotions. Escaping through distractions doesn't fix anything. It just delays your healing. It pushes your real life further away. And the longer you escape, the harder it is to come back. You start feeling more distant from your purpose. You lose track of your vision. Your mind becomes filled with things that don't matter. And suddenly, you don't know who you are without a screen in your hand. But the moment you stop escaping, you feel something different. You feel uncomfortable. Yes, but you also feel awake. You feel alive in a way you haven't felt in a while, because now you're facing things. You're not hiding. And when you start showing up for yourself like that, things start to change. Slowly at first, then faster. You start thinking better. You start making decisions from clarity, not confusion. You start trusting yourself again. You'll realize you're not as broken as you thought. You've just been distracted. You've been disconnected. But everything you need is still inside you. You just haven't given yourself a quiet enough space to hear. And that's the work, to create that space, every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. No phone, no content, just your thoughts. When you face your thoughts, you start understanding why you've been doing what you're doing. You stop blaming everything outside of you and start taking ownership. And that's where your power comes back. Because now you're not reacting, you're choosing. You're leading your own life, not being led by impulses and notifications. This is not easy, but it's necessary, because you can't change your life if you keep running from the parts of it that need attention. You can't become who you want to be if you keep filling your day with noise. You need space. You need reflection. You need courage. Courage to look at your thoughts, even when they scare you. Courage to sit with discomfort, knowing it's shaping you into someone stronger. The good news is, your mind adjusts quickly. The first few times you sit in silence, it might feel restless. You'll want to reach for your phone. You'll feel tempted to fill the space. But if you stay with it, even for 5 minutes a day, your brain starts to settle. Your focus returns. Your emotions soften. Your thinking deepens. This kind of presence changes how you work. It changes how you connect with others. It changes how you lead yourself through stress, pressure, and hard days. Because now you're not running, you're facing. You're building inner strength, not just outer noise. Most people are afraid of their own thoughts, because they've never spent time understanding them. But once you do, you stop fearing silence. You stop filling every gap with content. You start looking forward to moments of stillness, because that's where you regain your sense of control. And once you build that habit, you carry it into everything. You stop reacting emotionally to every problem. You stop escaping into entertainment when life feels heavy. You start facing your day with clarity. You start living with intention. That's the shift, from escape to engagement, from running to returning, from chaos to clarity. And you don't need to disappear into the mountains to do this. You just need a few quiet minutes a day, a journal, a walk, a silent room. You need less noise and more honesty. That's it. So stop distracting yourself from what needs your attention. Stop avoiding your inner world. You've been trying to fix everything on the outside, but the answers have always been inside. Sit with them. Listen to them, face them, and you'll find a version of yourself that's been waiting for your full attention. You're not here to avoid life. You're here to understand it, to grow from it. And that starts with choosing to be present, even when it's uncomfortable, especially then, because that's where real self-respect is built, in facing what's hard, not running from it. You're stronger than you think. You don't need constant distraction. You need truth, and it's waiting for you in the quiet. Chapter 7. Create a system that helps you stay focused daily. Focus doesn't just happen on its own. It's not something you wake up with. It's something you have to design your life around. And the people who stay focused day after day are not more talented or more gifted. They just have systems. They don't rely on memory, mood, or motivation. They build a structure that keeps their mind in check, even when they don't feel like showing up. And that's what you need if you're serious about changing your life. You need a system that makes focus automatic. A lot of people start strong and fall off track because they don't have anything to support their focus. They try to wing it. They think they'll remember what matters. But life gets noisy. The day gets busy. And without a plan, your focus gets lost. You check one message, you open one app, you bounce from one thing to the next, and suddenly, it's been 3 hours and you haven't moved 1 inch forward. Not because you don't care, but because you didn't create something to protect your attention. That's where a system comes in. A system is not about being rigid or robotic. It's about saving your energy. It's about removing friction. It's about having clear steps that guide you so you don't have to think about what to do next. Because the more decisions you have to make during the day, the more your brain gets tired. The more tired your brain is, the easier it becomes to drift. So instead of relying on willpower, you build an environment and a routine that do the heavy lifting for you. It starts with one question: what time of day are you most focused? For some it's the early morning, for others it's late at night. You don't have to follow someone else's schedule. You have to know your own rhythm. Once you know your best window, you protect it. You don't schedule calls, you don't check social media, you don't multitask. That time becomes sacred. That's when you do the work that matters most. Then you break your day into blocks. Not vague intentions like work on this later, but clear time blocks. From this time to that time, you're working on one thing only. Not 5 things. Not switching tabs, one task. That level of clarity allows your brain to stay in the zone. And every time you finish a block without breaking focus, you build trust with yourself. You prove that you can stay on task without chasing every little distraction. But even a good schedule isn't enough if your environment is full of noise, so you need to clean it up. Physically and digitally, you remove anything from your workspace that pulls your attention. Keep your desk clean, put your phone in another room, close every tab that doesn't serve the task in front of you. Make your environment reflect your focus, because a messy space creates a scattered mind, and a scattered mind can't go deep. Once your space is clear, build a pre-work routine. Something that tells your brain, it's time to lock in. Maybe it's 5 minutes of planning. Maybe it's a cup of coffee and a deep breath. Maybe it's writing down your top 3 goals for the session. It doesn't have to be long, it just has to be consistent. The point is to send a clear signal to your brain that the next block of time is for focused work only. And once your brain gets used to that routine, it will begin to settle into focus more easily. Another part of the system is knowing what to say no to. Every request, every notification, every small distraction is a leak in your system. And the more leaks you have, the more energy you lose, so you have to set rules. Maybe you don't check your phone before noon. Maybe you don't open email until after your deep work is done. Maybe you only respond to messages during one block of time each day. These rules are not about being harsh. They're about creating space to think clearly. And when you get distracted, and you will, you don't beat yourself up. You pause. You breathe. You get back to the task. That's also part of the system. Recovery. You train your brain that distractions don't have to ruin your focus. They're just moments. You notice them and return to what matters. Over time, those returns get faster. Your focus gets stronger. You build mental endurance the same way you build physical strength, by doing reps. Not perfect reps, just consistent ones. Track your progress. Not in a complicated way. Just simple notes. What did you get done today? What time were you most focused? What pulled you off track? What helped you get back? These small reflections sharpen your awareness. They help you adjust your system over time. Because a system is not fixed. It grows with you. As your goals change, as your schedule shifts, your system adapts. But the foundation stays the same. You protect your attention. You plan your time. You design your day around focus, not distraction. The best systems are simple. Don't overbuild. Don't make it so complex that you can't follow it. Focus on the basics. One clear task, one clear time, one clean space. That's enough to start. The more you simplify, the more your brain can engage deeply. And deep engagement is where the best work happens. That's when you stop surviving your day and start mastering it. And remember, systems don't make you perfect. They make you prepared. They give you something to return to when life gets busy. They help you reset faster. They reduce wasted time. And most importantly, they help you keep promises to yourself. Because that's what focus really is. Doing what you said you would do, even when no one's watching. There will always be days when things don't go as planned. But with a system, you don't fall apart. You adjust, you reschedule, you get back to it. That resilience is built through structure. Through the simple, quiet decisions you make every day to protect your energy and your attention. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And if you don't build one, you'll keep getting pulled in 100 directions. But when you do build one, even a simple one, you start making steady progress. You stop feeling overwhelmed. You stop starting over every Monday. You move forward with clarity, day after day. So don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Start now. Look at your day and ask, what time will I focus? What task matters most? What distractions will I remove? What space will I work in? What's my reset routine? These questions are not hard, but answering them every day builds a life where focus becomes natural, not forced, not lucky, just part of who you are. And when focus becomes part of your identity, everything changes. You stop wasting time. You stop chasing shortcuts. You stop needing outside pressure to stay on track. You become someone who can sit down, do the work, and walk away, knowing you gave it your best. That kind of self-respect is earned through systems, through structure, through showing up when no one else does. So build your system, keep it simple, stay consistent. And remember, focus is not a gift. It's a choice you make every single day. And the system you create is what makes that choice easier, stronger, and more automatic. Not once, but for the rest of your life.
Chapter 8. Remove lazy habits that keep your mind weak. There's a reason so many people feel stuck, unmotivated, and mentally tired every day, and it isn't because they don't care or don't have dreams. It's because their daily habits are quietly killing their mental strength. They've built routines around comfort, not growth, around ease, not effort. And the worst part is, they don't even realize it. Lazy habits don't show up in dramatic ways. They creep in slowly, one excuse at a time, one delay after another, one mindless decision that gets repeated until it becomes normal. It starts with the small things. Snoozing the alarm, even when you told yourself you'd get up early. Skipping the hard task and doing something that feels easier. Checking your phone first thing in the morning when you know it wastes your energy. Leaving things unfinished and telling yourself you'll get to it later. These habits don't seem dangerous in the moment. But over time,
They train your brain to accept low standards. They teach your mind that it's okay to choose comfort over challenge. And that's when your focus weakens. That's when your energy fades. That's when you begin to drift. You can't build a strong mind on top of weak routine. You can't expect to feel sharp when your habits are built around avoiding effort. If your default is to always choose the easy way out, your mind will lose the ability to push through discomfort. It won't know how to stay present with difficult tasks. It won't know how to delay gratification. It won't know how to handle stress without running from it. And that weakness doesn't just show up when you're working. It spills into every part of your life, your relationships, your discipline, your ability to follow through. Lazy habits don't just waste time. They shape how you see yourself. They lower your standards. Quietly. You stop aiming high. You start settling. You begin to believe that this is just the way life is. But it's not. It's just the result of patterns that haven't been broken yet. You've got to be honest with yourself. What are the lazy habits you've allowed into your daily life? What actions do you repeat that make your mind slower, your energy lower, your standards weaker? This is where the change begins. Not by doing something big, but by removing what's holding you back in small, consistent ways. Start with the moments where you choose delay over action. When you catch yourself putting things off, pause. Don't negotiate. Don't talk yourself into postponing it. Just start. Even if it's for 5 minutes. That one choice to act instead of delay builds a stronger mind than any motivation video ever could. Then look at how you begin your day. The first hour sets the tone. If you wake up and reach for distractions, you're telling your brain to chase stimulation instead of focus. Replace that with something clean and intentional. Even something as simple as getting up on the first alarm, making your bed, and writing your goals for the day can shift your mental energy in a powerful way. These aren't random tasks. They're signals. They tell your brain, we're in charge today. Another lazy habit to eliminate is consuming more than you create. Scrolling for hours, watching videos with no purpose, listening to content but never acting on it. These things feel productive, but they're passive. They feed the illusion of progress, while your real goals sit untouched. Start creating more than you consume. Even if it's just one decision, one action, one finished task, that's how you build momentum that lasts. Also pay attention to how you respond to discomfort. When something feels hard, what's your first move? Do you lean in or back off? Lazy habits teach you to run from difficulty. But strong minds are built through repetition, doing things that feel hard until they become normal. So when you face resistance, don't run. Stay with. That moment of discomfort is where your mindset gets sharper. That's where grit is developed. Don't underestimate the impact of your environment either. If your surroundings are full of distractions, clutter, and easy temptations, your habits will reflect that. Clean your space. Simplify it. Build an environment that supports movement, not delay. A space that reminds you of what you said you'd do. Your environment speaks to your mind, whether you realize it or not. You also need to stop rewarding yourself for doing the bare minimum. Lazy habits get reinforced when you celebrate easy wins and ignore the real work. There's nothing wrong with small victories, but the goal is to build consistency, not comfort. Focus on keeping promises to yourself. Focus on doing what you said you'd do, even when it's boring or uncomfortable. That kind of consistency changes how you see yourself. You stop needing motivation because your identity shifts. You become someone who follows through. And when you feel lazy, and you will, remember that the feeling is not the problem. Acting on it, you can feel unmotivated and still take the first step. You can feel tired and still do one important thing. You don't have to feel amazing to be disciplined. You just have to act. Over and over. Until that action becomes your new normal. Don't wait for perfect energy or perfect timing. That's how lazy habits stay alive. They feed on your hesitation. They wait for you to second guess. But you break them by moving faster than your doubt. By doing the work before your excuses get louder. That's what mental strength looks like. Not perfection. Not high energy. Just consistency when it's hard. Your goals aren't waiting for you to feel ready. They're waiting for you to remove what's in the way. And more often than not, it's not other people, bad luck, or your environment. It's the habits you repeat when no one's watching. The small choices you make every day. The comfort you chase when the work gets hard. That's what needs to change. Remove the habits that weaken your mind by replacing them with habits that sharpen it. Choose structure over randomness. Action over hesitation. Movement over avoidance, and do it daily. Not once a week. Not when it's easy. Every single day. Because the mind gets stronger through repetition, not inspiration. It won't feel glamorous. It won't always be exciting. But over time, you'll feel different. You'll think clearer. You'll move with more purpose. You'll start seeing progress where you used to see frustration. And it won't be because life got easier. It'll be because you got stronger. Because you stopped feeding lazy habits and started building real discipline. And the most powerful part, once you start living this way, you won't want to go back. You'll look at the old patterns and realize how much they were holding you down. You'll realize how capable you've always been. Once you stopped getting in your own way, you'll stop accepting excuses. You'll stop chasing comfort. You'll start chasing your potential. That shift is possible. And it begins with one question. What habits are keeping your mind weak? And what are you going to do about it today? Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Because every day you wait is another day. Those habits get stronger. And every day you act is another step toward the version of you that doesn't quit, doesn't delay, and doesn't run from the work. You've got more in you than lazy habits allow. It's time to live like it. Remove what's keeping you stuck. Build what keeps you strong. And do it again tomorrow. That's how mental power is built. That's how you win.
Chapter 9. Train your brain to sit still and stay sharp. Most people today don't know how to just sit still. Not because they're too busy, but because their brain has never learned how to stay in one place without needing to be entertained. They can't go 5 minutes without checking something. Their attention is split before the day even begins. The moment things slow down, they feel lost. They reach for noise. They look for distractions. They panic in silence. And the reason is simple. They've never trained their mind to be calm, alert, and focused without stimulation. You weren't born with a scattered mind. You trained it by how you live. Every time you switch between tasks, every time you reach for your phone out of habit, every time you avoid doing nothing, you're teaching your brain that stillness is wrong, that it's unsafe, that something is missing. And once that becomes your normal, it becomes harder to sit through a single thought without needing something to fill the gap. The brain was not built to handle constant input. It was built to solve, observe, and grow. But it needs space to do that. It needs silence. It needs room to think. And when you never give it that space, it loses its strength. It forgets how to focus. It forgets how to hold a thought. It jumps from one thing to the next, never going deep. That's why people can't finish books. That's why they zone out in conversations. That's why they feel restless, even when nothing is wrong. You have to train your brain the same way you'd train your body.
You have to build mental discipline slowly and consistently. And it starts with sitting still, not just physically, but mentally, giving your full attention to one thing at a time, letting your mind rest without trying to fix, change, or avoid anything. It sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest things to do in today's world. Because your mind is used to noise, it's used to scrolling, it's used to chasing the next hit of dopamine. When you sit in silence and stay there, your brain starts pushing back. It throws thoughts at you. It reminds you of things to check. It tells you that you're wasting time. That's the resistance. That's the tension. And that's exactly where you begin building mental strength, by not moving, by not reacting, by staying right there, even when every part of you wants to do something else. This isn't meditation, it's mental conditioning. It's sharpening your focus by choosing to stay still when you want to escape. And you don't need hours, you need minutes. You need repetition. Sit down, remove the noise, and do nothing for 5 minutes. No distractions, no multitasking, just stillness. Let your brain adjust. Let it slow down. Let it settle. At first, it won't feel productive. But that's the point. This isn't about getting things done. It's about teaching your brain that it doesn't need to be entertained to be active. It doesn't need constant input to be alive. It just needs attention. Pure, steady attention. As you train this daily, your focus sharpens. You'll notice yourself thinking more clearly. You'll have better control over your impulses. You'll become more aware of when your mind starts drifting. That awareness is what separates distracted minds from sharp ones. Most people don't notice when they lose focus. They just keep moving, not realizing they're off track. But when you've trained your brain to stay present, you feel the difference right away. You catch yourself. You return. This kind of mental training doesn't require special tools. It doesn't require perfect conditions. It requires consistency. You practice being still the same way you practice anything else. You sit down, you stay with the discomfort, and you repeat. Over time, it gets easier. Over time, your brain starts trusting the silence. It stops reaching for noise. It becomes stronger. You can also train your brain by doing one task at a time with full attention. Washing dishes, reading a page, writing a sentence, listening to someone without thinking of what to say next. These small acts of single-focus living reshape your mind. They teach it to slow down, to observe, to engage fully with the present. And when you do that consistently, your mental endurance increases. You're not just calm, you're sharp. You're steady. You're present. The goal isn't to live in silence all day. The goal is to be in control of your focus in any environment, to be able to stay locked in when you're working, to be able to pause before reacting, to be able to return to your center when the world feels overwhelming. That's what makes someone mentally powerful. Not how much they know, but how still they can be in the middle of noise. And when your brain is trained this way, everything improves. Your work gets deeper, your thoughts get clearer, your emotions get more stable. You stop overreacting to small things. You stop needing stimulation to feel alive. You start feeling grounded, not by chance but by design. Because you've trained your mind to stay in one place without falling apart. This training also builds your patience. It teaches you to sit with uncertainty, without rushing to fix it. It shows you how to think before you speak, how to wait before you decide, how to breathe before you react. Those small moments of stillness become your advantage. They give you time to respond instead of react. They give you clarity in the middle of pressure. They give you strength when everything else is rushing around you. You don't need to escape to a quiet retreat to build this. You need to face your current reality and choose stillness anyway. Choose to sit without checking your phone. Choose to stay with a task until it's finished. Choose to look someone in the eye and really listen. These are small choices, but they build a strong, sharp, focused mind. There will be resistance. Your brain will try to pull you back into distraction. It will convince you that you need to be doing something else, that you're missing out. But you're not. You're building something far more valuable than quick stimulation. You're building presence. You're building control. You're building inner strength. This training is not for people who want easy results. It's for people who are tired of drifting, tired of living with scattered energy, tired of letting every notification pull their mind away from what matters. It's for people who want to lead themselves with clarity and discipline. And that kind of leadership begins with focus. Real, deep, quiet focus. So start small. 5 minutes. No noise. No goals. Just sit. Let your thoughts come and go. Don't chase them. Don't avoid them. Just watch. Just breathe. Then tomorrow, do it again. And the next day. And the next. Make it a practice. Not something you try once. Something you do daily. Something that becomes part of who you are. And over time, you'll feel the change. You'll stop rushing. You'll stop reacting. You'll stop running from stillness. You'll begin to enjoy it, to crave it. Because in that stillness, you find something that's been missing for a long time, yourself. A focused mind is not something you find. It's something you build, day by day, thought by thought, choice by choice. And once you've built it, no one can take it from you. Not noise, not pressure, not distraction. Because your mind is trained, it's steady, it's sharp. And that kind of mind doesn't just survive in a busy world. It rises, it leads, it thrives. And so will you.
Chapter 10. Do what matters even when it feels uncomfortable. Most people spend their life waiting to feel ready. They wait for the fear to go away. They wait until they're confident. They wait until things feel easier, lighter, more exciting. But the truth is, that moment never comes. What matters the most often feels uncomfortable. And that discomfort is not a sign to stop. It's the very sign that you're in the right place, doing the right thing. The uncomfortable path is usually the one that changes your life. Doing what matters rarely feels good in the beginning. Waking up early when you want more sleep doesn't feel good. Saying no to distractions doesn't feel natural. Pushing yourself to finish when you're tired isn't enjoyable. Having honest conversations, setting boundaries, facing your fears, none of these things feel easy. But they shape you. They build the version of you that you respect. And respect for yourself comes from doing the things you know you need to do, even when every part of you wants to avoid them. Your mind is wired to seek safety and comfort. It wants to protect you from stress. So the moment something feels difficult, your mind sends signals to pull back. It will offer you excuses. It will try to bargain with you. It will suggest easier paths. And this is where most people give up. Not because they're weak, but because they mistake discomfort for danger. They don't realize it's just a test of their commitment, their discipline, their priorities. You've got to learn how to sit in discomfort and act anyway. You've got to build the muscle of forward movement, the ability to continue when it's messy, when it's slow, when it's uncertain, because that's where real results are born. Anyone can act when it's fun, but it's the ones who act when it's boring, tiring, or scary. Those are the people who separate themselves. When you feel discomfort, it's not a signal to stop.
It's a signal to focus. It's a chance to sharpen your direction. Because the pain you feel in the middle of a hard task is not punishment, it's growth. And growth always carries discomfort. You can't expand your capacity while staying in comfort. You can't gain strength if you only move when it's easy. Real strength comes from the days you show up with no energy, no motivation, and still get something done. This applies to every area of your life. In your health, it's choosing the workout when your body says rest. In your work, it's finishing the project when you feel mentally done. In your habits, it's showing up again after missing a day. In your relationships, it's having the hard talk instead of pretending nothing's wrong. These moments are not punishments. They are opportunities to prove to yourself that you are not controlled by how you feel in the moment. The world is full of people who start strong and fade fast. They chase excitement, they chase ease, and the second things get uncomfortable, they disappear. They start over again, hoping the next thing feels better. But you can't build anything meaningful like that. You can't build confidence if you're constantly running from discomfort. You can't build success if you keep avoiding the hard parts of the process. If you want to grow, you need to start asking if something feels good, and start asking if it's necessary. There's a big difference between what feels good and what's good for you. Watching videos might feel good. Working on your goals might feel heavy, but only one of those choices leads to progress. Only one of those builds you, and when you choose the hard thing again and again, something inside you shifts. You stop fearing effort. You stop resisting challenge. You become someone who's grounded, not because life is easy, but because you've learned how to stand firm when it's hard. That's a rare trait today. Most people fold under pressure. You won't if you train yourself to move through it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to finish everything fast. You just have to keep going. You just have to choose progress over comfort, one decision at a time, even on days when you don't feel like it, especially on those days, because discipline is not built when you feel good. It's built when you don't feel like doing anything, and you still take the next step. You must remember this. The discomfort you feel is not there to stop you. It's there to shape you. It's there to clean out the weakness, the excuses, the fear. It teaches you how to focus under pressure. It gives you mental strength that can't be faked. That's the real reward. Not just getting things done, but becoming someone who doesn't break when life gets heavy. Start looking at discomfort as your training ground. When you feel it, say to yourself, this is the work, not the task, not the result, but the part of you that's growing through the act of showing up. Anyone can do the work when it's fun. Not many can do it when it's quiet, slow and full of resistance. That's your edge. That's where you rise. Stop waiting for the perfect mood. It's not coming. Start acting from a place of purpose, not feeling. Show up tired. Show up annoyed. Show up afraid. But show up. Every time you do, you prove that you are in charge, not your emotions, not your doubts, not your discomfort. And no, it won't feel great right away. It might even feel like a grind. But over time, that discomfort becomes fuel. You'll begin to crave the challenge. You'll feel proud in the middle of the work, not just after it's done. Because you'll know most people would quit. But you did. You will learn that every uncomfortable decision builds a layer of strength inside you, a layer that doesn't break under pressure, a layer that doesn't fold when life gets hard. You will gain something more valuable than talent. You will gain the ability to endure, and those who endure win. So make it a habit. Do the thing you're avoiding. Lean into the conversation you've been putting off. Start the project that feels overwhelming. Face the decision that makes you nervous. You don't have to feel fearless. You just have to feel ready enough to begin. And beginning is always the hardest part. Once you start, the fear begins to fade. And when you reach the end of your day, you'll feel something different. Not pride from avoiding discomfort, but pride from moving through it. You'll feel grounded, not because the day was easy, but because you stayed strong. You did what mattered. You didn't let a little discomfort stop you. You kept your word. You followed through, and that's the foundation of a strong life. Not comfort, not ease, but courage. Courage to take action when it feels awkward, messy, unclear. Courage to keep moving when you'd rather stop. Courage to face yourself honestly and still move forward. Because everything you want, growth, freedom, confidence, peace, it's all waiting on the other side of discomfort. It's not found in shortcuts. It's found in the days you choose discipline over delay, focus over fear, effort over escape. So from this point forward, make a decision, not to wait, not to avoid, but to move toward what matters. Even when it feels uncomfortable, especially when it feels uncomfortable, because that's not the time to pull back. That's the time to lean in. You're capable of more than your feelings suggest. You've got strength in you that only shows up under pressure, and that strength is waiting for you right now, in the task you're avoiding, in the choice you've delayed, in the hard thing you've been postponing. Face it, do it, finish it, and when you do, you won't just get results. You'll build something far more powerful. You'll build belief, the quiet kind that says, I do what matters, no matter how I feel. That's the belief that changes your life. And you earn it, one uncomfortable step at a time.